So non-duality isn't called oneness because even that term maintains duality. It suggests a countable one in relation to many. Non-duality points to what's prior to all concepts of separation, unity, or counting, to what's already the case before any mental divisions or descriptions. Let's look at this simply. When we say oneness, we're still thinking in terms of numbers and counting, one versus two or many, but non-duality points to what's prior to all concepts, including numbers and counting, to the fundamental nature of reality that can't be divided or counted in the first place. Look at it like this. The dream is consciousness, appearing as apparent characters and scenes. There's no actual division between consciousness and the dream content. It's all consciousness appearing as different forms. You can't even say it's one thing. It's not a thing at all. It's consciousness appearing as infinite forms. Non-duality points to the recognition that everything in our experience, thoughts, feelings, sensations, the entire world and all beings is appearing as consciousness itself. Just like a dream, it all seems separate, but it's actually made out of the same indivisible stuff, awareness or consciousness. The term non-dual comes from Advaita, meaning not two. So rather than asserting all is one, it points to the falseness of any apparent separation and challenges the assumption of separation, points to what's already here and illuminates the illusoriness of division without creating any new concepts about unity. One reason people often confuse non-duality with oneness is the deeply ingrained spiritual desire for unity. And this desire arises from the experience of feeling separate from others, from life, or from a sense of wholeness. And in response, spiritual paths, psychedelic or mystical experiences seem to offer the promise of connecting with oneness, feeling unity with all things, or becoming one with the universe. And these ideas deeply resonate with us because they seem to offer a resolution to that pain of isolation. However, these approaches still operate within the framework of duality. It starts with the assumption that separation is real and offers oneness as the solution, a state where the many become unified into one. And whilst this can feel deeply comforting, it subtly reinforces the idea that there are things or beings that need to come together to form a whole, and this keeps the mind locked into the belief that separation exists to begin with, even if it's overcome by unity. Even if you go to a spiritual teacher, take a psychedelic, or have a mystical experience that makes you feel oneness and one with the universe, it's a blissful experience, but quickly becomes something in the past that you're now separate from, always trying to get back to. It limits the truth to an experience and a place in time, whereas the real truth is always the case now. So non-duality points to something entirely different. It doesn't aim to have you achieve a special state or feeling of oneness. It reveals that separation was never real to begin with. It's not that oneness is wrong, it's just incomplete. It's not that ideas of oneness, unity, or interconnectedness are false. They work on the relative level and help us to feel unified when we believe that we're separate. But if we overuse the term oneness, it's easy to create a new spiritual concept. Everything is one. Non-duality isn't about believing in oneness. It's about directly recognizing that separation was never real to begin with. Like waking up from a dream and remembering that the dream characters and the dream world were never actually separate from the dream consciousness. They weren't united together in oneness, There never were any separate dream things to begin with. So, maybe you can see this recognition has profound implications. You're not a separate person trying to achieve wholeness, unity, or oneness. You're already the awareness as which all experience appears, and there's no distance between you and your true nature, which is this. There is no path to what you already are. And while this revelation shows no separate individual exists to do anything, it doesn't mean passivity. Consciousness continues appearing as apparent action, healing, and transformation. The difference is, these arise naturally from recognizing what's true rather than seeking what's apparently missing. And in this way, it maintains the radical non-dual truth while seeing through the common trap of no doer as an excuse for inaction and stagnation in life. The term non-duality also helps to prevent common misunderstandings. It's not about everything literally being the same or denying apparent diversity of experience. It's not about achieving a special state of consciousness. It's not about believing in a philosophical concept. Although there are misunderstandings still expressed by other non-dual teachers, even popular ones. They may say things that sound non-dualistic and very clever, yet are subtly actually dualistic. For example, awareness implies duality because there has to be someone here who's aware of it. Overlooking that authentic non-dual teaching points to awareness and its content being inseparable and indivisible. Or they may dismiss I am as just another dream story about the me, falling into that self-no-self duality. True non-dual I am collapses the duality by pointing to the fact that I, the apparent individual self, and am, the apparent amness of presence, are not actually two things, but the indivisible reality. And others often misinterpret non-duality to be denying certain things, like the concept of self, by saying there's no one here. Authentic non-duality isn't denying anything, because to deny a concept is to infer the existence of its opposite, which is dualistic. It's never saying it's not that, it's this. It's saying it's both at once. It's self and no self at once. It's this and that at once. There is no path to what you already are, but there is an apparent path to what you might become. Some people think non-duality is only about being, and so not doing anything or becoming anything. But being and becoming are two sides of the duality. True reality is both simultaneously. All apparent becoming only ever happens as this being itself, and anything you might become is not something else, but this same beingness appearing as something else. So non-duality isn't called oneness because it points to the absence of separation rather than creating another concept of unity. And when we say oneness, we tend to imagine separate things that are connected or unified in oneness, overlooking the fact that there never was any separation to begin with. Even terms like interconnected or unified subtly reinforce separation by suggesting separate things that became joined. Non-duality points to what's prior to any apparent separation or unity. It's not that everything is connected, it's that disconnection was never real except as a mental concept. The dream metaphor helps illuminate this. We don't say dream characters are one with the dream or unified with the dream. They are the dream appearing as characters. This also isn't about everything being one with consciousness. It's consciousness appearing as everything. The blue sky isn't one with the clouds. The blue sky and the clouds were never separate to begin with. They're the same atmosphere appearing as different forms. So this is why traditions like Advaita emphasize not two rather than one. One still implies division. Not two points to the illusion of any real division to begin with. And when we remember this directly, we see why oneness falls short. It's not that separation has been overcome and enlightenment has been attained through realizing unity or oneness. It's that separation itself is revealed as illusory to begin with. For one-on-one coaching inquiries, go to speaktoalex.com. See you in the next video. Peace.